Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me here again from Rugby, and thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, we're talking Currie Cup, starting off, and then we'll basically trail into the game at Ellis Park this weekend. That didn't go as well as anybody planned, but yeah, let's get into it. Yeah, Currie Cup at this point, I'm just going to try and sort of gloss over it. A lot of the games, because it is, I'm trying to get all the analysis, from most of the games going on this weekend. Hollywood Big Sharks, once again, just continuing the usual losing streak they're on. The Currie was basically giving them 1-4, a 26-17 victory to the Suzuki Currie, that kind of just sort of forcing the nail back even further down into the Sharks team. That I don't really have an answer for them. I can say, well, they can work on the defense till I'm bloody blue in the face, but is that really going to help? Whitehead was on form, of course, this weekend. Tries scored all round by because even though they suffered the loss of Oosthuizen around about the 70th minute, going into the for the second half, sort of middle of the range for the second half. But that's nothing compared to the fact that the Hollywood Big Sharks 15 was taking yellow cards left, right, and centre. Smith went on for 10 minutes, so did Ramau and Hutton as well. Hutton was right at the beginning of the game, in the 18th minute, went off, and yeah, it was kind of downhill from there. Vusi Moyo basically being on top form, and hopefully we'll be seeing a bit, better performances from him in the future. Not that, the performance overall by the Sharks wasn't better. It was marginally. They did manage to score quite a few tries. Everson, Apollos, getting their tries in, with Vusi Moyo basically converting and getting one penalty goal right at the beginning of the game. And that was basically it. That was the only points scored for the Sharks. And yeah, look, they are fairly young players, and one can understand that you need to still get your groove into playing that level of rugby, but guys, do better. That's all I can say. There wasn't really much problem with the Sharks' form. Their main line, going for more running rugby. It's just the ball handling need to be more tight, as well as quicker at the breakdowns, and yeah, trying to keep their formations within the defensive lines, because it was kind of quite easy, especially in the second half, for the Currie to kind of break through, get those line breaks, sort of up and overs, just running circles around the Sharks, that basically saw them losing here. The Currie was also going for a very front row heavy attack, like they did against the I think it was the Bulang Cavaliers a couple of weekends ago, where they did they were trailing actually behind in the first half, and then kind of just punched through in the second, which was brilliant play by them. I mean, this is kind of the Currie and the Cavaliers are almost, they ensuring a much better quality of rugby this time around, for all the fans out there, as the Sharks obviously did dominate the possession within the last 10 minutes of the game, couldn't quite convert that into points, which is unfortunately the downfall for them. The defense profile of the Sharks looks obviously a lot more broader than the one for the Currie, because I mean they were almost constantly on defense, and have their defensive lines relentlessly badgered until it just came tumbling down eventually, and the Currie can basically punch through, getting some rolling maul tries. Currie also being very quickly at the breakdown, shutting any hope of getting pressure, mounting some pressure on the Sharks side, which is brilliant by them. Then of course now still staying with the Cheetahs a bit. Again, Western Province, you can see there is a markable improvement, and Labib has definitely also lamented that the constant slight improvements being made from round to round and game to game. They're of course also focusing a lot more on defense, focusing on a lot more on getting the breakdowns ready and right for the Western Province during the practice sessions. And it seems like the team is starting to work at a bit more of a cohesive form, although discipline still a bit lacking, but not to the degree as it was lacking on the Cheetahs side. Yet the Cheetahs still made a very strong presence felt, keeping the dominant pressure on the Western Province side through fairly spread throughout the entire game. But Janssen van Vuren getting a yellow card in the first half for a deliberate knockdown. He then is red carded in the 71st minute. And then just shortly after that, in the 76th minute, like only 5 minutes later, Janssen van Rensburg goes off with a yellow card that basically creates a very unique situation right at the end, as they were trying to scrum, blue ball, the Western Province ball, and now the referee had his hands full with kind of a calculation as Stephen Gelden has tried to okay, you guys need to drop one more player. This is an uncontested scrum. You guys got one guy in the bin, one guy off permanently. So we need to drop one guy, and you need to bring it forward into the scrum, because the scrum has to be at full capacity. That's the law. And kudos to the Cheetahs, where they actually just went, fuck it, we're not going to drop a guy. This is a contested scrum. We're going to scrum. That's it. Bring one of the backline guys in, and we're gonna go for it. They did lose the scrum, and unfortunately, the Western Province, they couldn't capitalize on the penalty that resulted from that. As usual, ball fumbling basically sends the ball straight over the touchline out of Victor Sikekete's hands, which basically ended the game there, as it was already past the 80-minute mark. But a remarkable improvement, as I said, with tries scored by Van Wyk, Africa, Ndiaye, and then conversion by Lates. He's been playing a lot better these days. Yuri Mattia also lacking on the discipline side, clearing the rucks from the side entries, seeing really unnecessary penalties being awarded to the Cheetahs. But kudos to Frans Steyn. I mean, being a first-time coach to an amateur provincial team is doing really well. And we all know his history as the one of the youngest players within the Springbok jersey. Also, the guy that still holds the record, I believe, for the longest goal kick. Although not in a game, it was recorded in I think it was high school or varsity, where he just took a goal kick from within his 22. I think it was 85 meters out, and managed to actually hit the goal. So he still holds the record for the longest goal kick, and you could see that kind of talent coming through in his throughout his Springbok career, as he played hard. He was an extraordinary ball carrier. He was a very strong runner, beaten a lot of defenders for a fly off, and his goal kicking was predominantly on point. So all round very kind of chiseled and metal or set player that he was in his active career. Now he's stepping into the coaching box and he's doing extraordinarily well, except for obviously the one loss that they took. I think it was against the Boland Cavaliers. But again, Jasper Cohen, Jasper, something is his name, but very strong player. This kid basically scoring the first try right off out of the starting lineup, from the starting blocks. Scoring his first try, converting it, in a brilliant fashion for himself. Then Mossy, the try by him was just absolutely emotional, extremely emotionally charged. I mean, he almost went down in like a kneeling position, kind of probably thanking whichever powers that be that he would want to thank, because I don't think he ever dreamed that he was going to make his debut try within the Currie Cup, and he just did it so well. Fantastic. Taking advantage of the kind of centralized defense of the Western Province. The Cheetahs would constantly badgering with forward advancement and attacks, going about 3 to 4 phases in, sometimes about 5 or 6, and then taking the ball wide to the wings, and then finding the flanks completely open by the Western Province. So there's definitely an area that they can, Coach Labib can have a look at. But basically also with the kicks going over the Western Province had to commit a lot more defense in the back open spaces, which does kind of leave holes within the flanks. And then Cheetahs doing very well to take advantage of that. Like I said, Mossy, fantastic and absolutely emotional in that try of his. The first half being ended off by Van Wyck's try with the conversion by Mattia. Penalty, the first points on the board for Western Province was opened with a penalty goal by Mattia as well. Then in the second half, boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Just sort of 3 tries very shortly after one another. Brits, Venter, Volskink making strong carries, and again going for the open flanks as soon as gaps open there. Jasper doing very well in these conversions as well. It was just all round fantastic play, and this is the kind of games that you really want to watch for local style rugby. I mean, this is the kind of going back to grassroots, the DNA, as a lot of people are now calling it, of South African rugby. The brutality, the forward strength, and then watching for those open gaps in the defensive lines, to really go forward from there. But I'll get to the Springbok game in just a minute. Then we have, of course, the Ealing Pumas versus the ADT Lions. Very nail-biting game. I mean, this was fantastic. This is what we live for rugby. The brutality, the tactics, the constant defensive lines, the attempts to try and badger through, defeating defenders all round from there on. This was just absolutely fantastic rugby to watch, and we, sometimes you feel that you don't really get much of that. It's like not really eventful happening in the first half, and then the second half really going straight for it. But it was a 36-35 victory to the Golden Lions, which is sad for the Pumas, because they're really showing a lot of heart in this Currie Cup. They a lot of strength as well. Roewald van der Merwe got a fantastic try for himself, converted by Danrich. Visagie, and then only to have the Lions respond with Kelly Mpeku and Angelo Davids basically getting another 7 points there each. So it's really, you get to a point where you're like, this is like tit for tat. This one's a hit, and that one's a hit, and this one's a. It's a brutal battle for dominance, and this is really what rugby is about. This is what we love to see. The back and forth with leads in changes constantly within the game just absolutely make it fantastic rugby to watch. Then, of course, Sanlam Bull and Cavaliers versus the Vodacom Bulls. And again, the Bulls, having the Currie Cup dreams kind of slowly slipping away, as the Cavaliers are just living their best time right now. And it's just absolutely fantastic to watch. 28-20 victory to the Bull and Cavaliers over the Currie Cup, and another fantastic turnout at the stadium here. I think it was the Wellington Stadium that they played out. Again, the constant trend of the the Vodacom Bulls basically, the teams having the homegrown advantage that basically wins the game. And that's basically just, it kind of, I'm not a superstitious person, let me put it to you that way, but this is amazing just to see, like, it's like always just a homegrown advantage that keeps the teams really going forward, and which is kind of lead you to like think what's going to happen once the Western Province, the Golden Lions, and the Vodacom Bulls gets to their home turf. Are they going to make it or not? I think the Pumas game was played in Nelspruit, so it's not on the Emirates Airline Park, sorry, which is the ADT Lions home turf. But yeah, still fantastic rugby basically going here. Boland basically playing in front of a sold out crowd in the Wellington Stadium, and this is just so fantastic to see. These like small areas that used to not do that well within the Currie Cup suddenly make such a huge impact in the game, and their fans come out in droves to basically watch the heroes on the field playing, doing absolutely fantastic well within the Premier Division. So, up and coming matches now for the Colin Currie Cup. This far, let me just get my... sorry, I've now lost my... Okay, here we go. We've got the Cheetahs going up against the Golden Lions. That would be on the 23rd of August. I think that is on... No, that's on Saturday. On Friday, we have... let's take it from the top down. On Friday, the 22nd, we have the Pumas going up against the Cavaliers. The Sharks facing off against Western Province. And that's going to be an interesting game. Thus far, Western Province has been making serious improvements in their games as well. Dylan Lates really coming up as with Yuri Matia making some groundbreaking strides in their game as well. Skaran Tubini, the age-old stalwart, I think he's part of the he's probably part of the furniture already with the Western Province and the Stormers. I don't think they're gonna have to carry that man out in a coffin. He's going to be buried on that rugby field. I mean, it's just absolutely wonderful to see him always, the start marker, as they say in Afrikaans. The guy that's always there, that you can always count on. The man that will always be the strength or the go-getter for the Western Province. Now that especially Brock Harris is no longer with him. Then we've got on Sunday... I believe that the Bulls is taking on the Griquas, and that's also going to be an interesting one to see. So, yeah, looking forward to those games. And then obviously, coming now to the... I don't know how to rate this game, really. I was thinking of, not really doing a video this week because I had to go book myself into... to therapy after this one. I felt violated. And I think a lot of South Africans did. We seriously felt shell-shocked throughout the entire game. What happened? I would love to know. I think most South Africans would love to know. I think Russie would love to know. We did so well, played absolutely fantastically, kept the pressure on within the first half, 22-0. To really stick it to the Wallabies and to trail behind. It's like the first try of the Wallabies was absolutely fantastic. I think it was Jorgensen's try where he basically just totally blindsided the South African defense. Again, also, starting to pitch a bit more of a threat of up and overs and grubber kicks, so you would position more a lot of your defenders in the open field in the back line to kind of pick up all the territorial kicking there, and that leaves a lot of holes with either within the center or on the flanks, and it was kind of like a turnaround happened from there on. Just before halftime, the Wallabies got their first try through, scoring 5 points. So going into the halftime, 22-5. It could have been more though, because the Springboks was awarded the penalty within the Wallabies 22 shortly before halftime, and I don't know why Ibn Itzebet basically went to Mane and says, like, okay, we'll go for the touchline. The goal posts are right there. Mane has been doing very well. It seems like he's kind of mostly over his yips, and it looked like he was really doing well for himself. Getting the regular point scoring on with his conversions, but to now give up almost guaranteed 3 points for a potential 7, and then losing the ball in contact, and then having the Wallabies basically kicking it over the sideline as the halfway siren went. I don't quite know what the logic was behind that from Ibn. But yeah, we'll it's no use crying over spilled milk. This just happened. Then coming back after halftime, it's like there was a noticeable lack happening in the Springbok camp now. They were not as quickly as before at the breakdowns. That kind of started putting more pressure on the Springboks as well from the Wallabies side. The Wallabies just completely went energetic, and they really started going out for this with a vengeance. And then again, as per usual, sorry, that's my phone going off, starting to take advantage of the gaps basically forming within the sidelines and sometimes within the center as well. And we took advantage of the inadequacies in the defense, the gaps in the defense, especially with Estreza and Currie Arnson tries, breaking through right in the center to go and actually score the tries there. We also exploited weaknesses within the defense on the flanks, and coming back now into the second half, it's like the Wallabies just flipped the script on us. And it was just absolutely the attempted long passes, especially by Manie Libbok and Edwin van der Merwe. It was just not the best choices, not the best ideas going for it. 2 interceptions happening, the one not really being as successful, but Tom Wright basically getting a fantastic interception of a long pass from Manie Libbok from inside their 22, making a break, beating Jesse Creel and Currie Arnson, and then just making a beeline through. Was absolutely fantastic play by the Wallabies, and I really have to congratulate them on their victory there. That was a hard-fought one. Nobody saw this coming, and I really sincerely mean it when I say it this time. It's just we really did not see it coming. I mean, you could see it evident in the fans' faces as they were just shell-shocked. I had no words. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was just wow. A sheer lack of energy and enthusiasm in the second half there by the Springboks. They're going to need to work on it. Rassie, good on him. All the kudos to him for taking full responsibility for this loss. He's identified quite a few areas where a lot of improvement needs to make, and I think he's not going to want to make this the same choice, same mistakes twice. So he's definitely going to be ready. There's a lot of areas he's going to be focusing on, I think, and a lot of people have been touting it within their postmortems, especially online. And I do agree, we need to go back to the basics of South African rugby. Front row heavy, brutality, a lot of energy there, and then maybe watch out for the gaps happening at the flanks. The Wallabies really well done in their second half defense. That was just almost like completely solidified. It was like Kevlar this is like, okay, guys, enough. Not one more point to the Springboks here. So they solidified their defenses. Every time we try to badger them with strong carries, especially from Eben Etzebeth and Marco van Staden, they started closing ranks a lot more. And there is just the one thing that I also want to kind of just mention. The Marco van Staden going off for a head injury assessment kind of did, I feel, break the stride again, a bit. Or the momentum for the Springboks. Now getting Kwagga Smith on in his place to kind of, he did come back later, but now you kind of feel that the flow and the stride of the Springboks was kind of a bit broken, and they had a bit of a difficult time trying to get it back again. Because Kwagga Smith in himself is a very good player, but he's not Marco van Staden. There's a reason why we call him Eskom. Because his tackles tends to put a guy out, lights out. Okay, and it's just kind of a nickname that's stuck. So he is an extremely good player, one of the best talent, basically being produced by the Blue Bulls and fostered by coach Jake White. And for us to lose him. For any amount of time within the game kind of did cost us, I feel. Going forward from here, also would like to just mention a few things. And there is a kind of growing trend of people criticizing others, especially content creators or fans, for criticizing refs. And look, I do agree. You can't just always blame the ref. But I would just like to mention a few kind of misses or mistakes made by Ben O'Keefe in this game. Number one, I do not agree with his assessment of the Siya Kolisi tackle. It was an upright tackle. There was head contact on both players. So I think it was Jorgensen. I'm not sure. I think it was Jorgensen that made the tackle. He went off with a blood injury, mouth completely just busted open, blood everywhere. Siya Kolisi did get off a bit easier from that, but there was head contact to his chin. Maybe not with as much force as the defender basically got, but it was an upright tackle. It's the defender's responsibility to dip into low enough into the tackle, and he didn't do that. So there was head contact. And Ben O'Keefe basically ruled it as no danger. The potential danger of such a tackle is still quite high, although because there was a sheer lack of force, in that tackle. I mean, although there was force. I mean, you could see, from the busted open mouth, there was force, and it shouldn't just be a penalty, a team being penalized for that kind of infraction because it's dangerous for the attacking player, but it's also dangerous for the defending player. Okay, and it might not have been a high degree of danger, but still, yellow card with a penalty. That is the law for a low degree of danger, but there is always a potential degree of danger for that sort of tackles. We saw Kirsten from the Blue Bulls basically going off in the URC for a not dipping into the tackle yellow card. And he was lucky to get, and when he did the same thing again within the second half, he's lucky to only have a penalty against him. But in this game, no penalty, no card whatsoever. Sure, maybe not a high degree of danger, but still a penalty. Ben O'Keefe then decided it good to basically take the penalty back to the obstruction. Okay, so I don't agree with that. But also a couple of side entries by the Wallabies that was missed, high tackles. The one interception which I feel was kind of a bit of a deliberate knockdown. As the ball was slightly behind, I think it was Tom Tom Wright, I'm not sure. The ball was slightly behind him. There was no, in my view, in any case, there was no realistic way he was going to retrieve that ball. So that should be a deliberate knockdown. And accordingly, Ben O'Keefe can assess, the kind of level of infraction, whether it only demands a penalty or a card or whatever. But yeah, look, it was a silly mistake to go for that kind of boom wide pass or long pass, and then not to expect the Wallabies to kind of try and retaliate. But yeah, so there's a kind of couple of mistakes and erroneous calls that I feel Ben O'Keefe did make. But again, you can't just criticize the ref. The South Africans did not perform up to standard within the second half. And so, yeah, that loss is completely on them. We got to do better. And hopefully going on, on Saturday, this coming weekend, round 2 against the Wallabies, we might be doing better here in the DHL Cape Town. We're all hoping for it. A lot of people online basically calling for revenge on the on the Australians, but well done to them. They did really well. They came back with a vengeance, and a fantastic game for them. Well done to them. Coming from a really massive deficit within the first half to really go through to a 16-point or 18-point victory, or a difference victory to them, 38-22. Fantastic play there, and this is rugby. This is definitely the kind of rugby that we always want to see whenever we go switch on our television or go to the stadium to watch. Coming in, like I said, this coming weekend we have the South African versus Australia round 2, and we are kind of Coach Rushy has really got his work cut out for him this time around. He's down 4 players, both Edwin van der Merwe, Currie Arendse, Sia Kolisi, and I think it's Peter Steph-Toy. Yes, not Estraser, but Peter Steph-Toy. That's all down with injury right now. Luckily for us, we still do have Sasha Famba-Komazulu. We still do have Cheslin Colby, which I believe will be ready to go in for this game. And then I think Rassie is gonna, kind of go back to the what we call the Springbok DNA, the raw basics of South African rugby. Maybe push Tony Brown's more running rugby a bit to the side. Don't obviously, I don't think the Springboks is going to discard that entirely, but not completely relying on it like we did in this past weekend, but in favor of a bit more of a front row heavy brutality type of game plan to play, to kind of brute force your way through the defense of the Wallabies and then go for the tries there. Excuse me. And not that Tony Brown's tactics doesn't work. We saw that in the first half. 22 points was scored with some fantastic tactical plays by the Springboks. Punching through the center, like I said, with Ibn Etzebeth basically offloading to Estraser that got that wonderful try through, one of the best tries of the game in my opinion. And then you have the Currie Arendse try, also sort of punching through just a slight hole opening up, or a gap opening up within the defenses of the Wallabies, and then utilizing a lack of defense on the flanks as well to go through and score the rest of the tries there. But yeah, going forward from here, it's going to be a tough one, but I do feel we can make it. Rassie is also bringing back the RG Snyman, the son of Snyman, Ragnar, as he's become known. I mean, the South African Viking coming back, and this guy has really gone from strength to strength. Every time you see him, it's just an absolute wonder and beauty to watch this guy work. Whether he's playing for Leinster or he's playing for Ulster or South Africa, for the Blue Bulls, which was his alma mater, I believe, just before he went overseas from the Springboks after winning 2 World Cups. And he's gone from strength to strength, and this guy really is an asset to the Springboks. Really happy to see him back making onto the field this weekend. I really hope that there's no further injuries coming this week during the practice runs, because that seems to be a bit of a trend. Siya Kolisi going off with a knee injury that he also sustained a couple of weeks, sort of beginning of this year, I think, during a practice session. Not really. I also do think that he's had quite a few operations to that knee as well. But I hope he still be able to make it through to the 2027 World Cup, as I hope all of those veteran players will be able to make it through, along with all the new guys. But he's still got Boan Venter, Marco van Staden. He's got quite a few solid choices for the front rows and for the bench to happen. He's going for the 6-2 split again. So definitely going very front row heavy, calling in the bomb squad around about the second half. I think probably going to be around the 45th minute up to the 50th minute possibly. That will be my prediction. So I think we probably will have a good chance at victory this time around. Possibly about 15 points. Between 5 and 15 points advance on the Wallabies. So definitely going to be looking out for that. But yeah, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching and spending this time with me. Again, I've received this week a wonderful kind of comment, giving me some pointers on areas that I can see where to try and improve, and I'll definitely take that to heart and try and see how I can improve the all-round kind of delivering of my content. But please keep them coming. I love seeing these things, getting new ideas from you guys of what I can use to bring more, make the channel a bit more entertaining and better for you guys as well. As usual, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't done so, and the comments below. Give me your thoughts. If you have any opinions, I'll take them. Whatever comes, I love it. I love to seeing them. I love to see them. And yeah, from a very cold Cape Town, as it is still pretty much winter over here, I bid you guys all farewell. Thank you very much. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Peace out.
Clattering in to the defensive line. Silky skills from Lua Tiaga. Jesse Creel gets outside his man. Peter Steph-Toy to his inside. And Andre Esterhuizen rounds off